Well, Bernard, when you talk about, you just mentioned about doing it your way, about going out your way. Tank Davis a couple of days ago said that 25 may be his last year boxing. What do you feel about that when he may or may not fight guys like Shakur or Devin? What would his legacy be then in your eyes?
I think his legacy will be in his time, which he needs to be respected for, that Tank did what most of the greats did in their time, accomplish the highest goal that you can accomplish, and also one ballot, as far as I'm concerned, Hall of Famer. So based on that, in his time, as far as his era, where it was loaded with fighters or fights and fighters that could have fought each other and they didn't. Every era has that same situation. I don't think they're ever going to go away or ever would be something dismissed from eras of conversation. But I think Tank Davis, understand his path and going to go by what he feels. Hey, he's young still, might change his mind. Who knows? Something might happen in the next 1 or 2 fights where there's an automatic repeat or rewind of something spectacular on his way out. So I would say if he's going to do 1 or 2 or 3 fights, then let's respect that and let's hope that that's the fights that we want to see. That's the key, the fights that we want to see.
We have Chevy with Chevy's Red Corner. First of all, it's an honor to speak with you. I am from Cleveland, so of course my question is going to be in regards to Charles Conway. What do you guys plan on doing with him in 2025? And could Vergil Ortiz or Boots Ennis be a potential fight for him?
Yes, that division itself. He spoke eloquently on stage about winning or fighting next year for a world title shot, whether it's Ennis, whether it's anyone in that weight division. He's going to make that statement Saturday to ensure everybody, including his fans and also his team, that he's ready to go to the next level. I would say in 2025, in the latest 2026, if politics don't get in the way, because I always got to be honest with you and tell you about the politics, because politics might hold up and will hold up and normally does hold up, unfortunately, stuff in boxing. But Conway has a bright future. We know he can fight. We know he's poised outside the ring just as well as in the ring. It's just a matter of time, not when. It's a matter of time. And if I'm in his weight class, that have any insecurities about myself, if I'm in his weight class, then get the hell out of that weight class tomorrow. Now, you are wanted. You got warrants on you. And they all felonies.
So what do you think
He's coming. Conway is coming for y'all ass.
When we talk about 154, lots of good guys at 54. Can you just shed a little light on what happened with the Vergil Ortiz and Boots Ennis situation? What were you privy to? How did that not take place?
What was I privileged to? I was privileged to that they didn't work out a deal. I mean, listen, sometimes you want things to happen. I want things to happen, and I did, and it didn't happen. Whether he was wrong, Boots Ennis, his team, or whether he say or someone say it was Golden Boy. At the end of the day, that fight, if they really want to fight, we got a new, fresh year coming in. And that fight will be demanded by the fans and also the money and the opportunity will present themselves. They won't be able to say no. Both fighters. It must happen. The fight will happen. It's just the timing wasn't correct or timing wasn't right for each side. And let me tell you something. Negotiations happens, negotiations work, sometimes they don't. But they still in the same weight class and they still, I believe, must cross paths with each other before they go to their next level. But in the meantime, in between time, can't get distracted by the politics on either side. And I'm not saying that we're the victim or we're the culprit. I'm just saying that fights that's supposed to happen in any weight division will happen and should happen based on the energy that's in boxing now. The money shouldn't be the problem. The chances and choices shouldn't be the problem. Greed and greediness shouldn't be the problem. let's just sit back and let the politics and let the negotiations take their natural courses of time, and we're going to see them fights. I guarantee, I want to go as far as saying I guarantee you fights that's supposed to happen will happen.
And when we talk about timing, Madrimov scheduled for February with Vergil Ortiz Jr. However, before that, matches up against Boacek, who is a tough, rough and tumble fighter.
He pulled out.
Oh, he pulled out. Okay. So there's nothing else in the way, I guess. Looks like we have action on the 22nd. There is no fight preliminarily beforehand.
There is always something might be in the way. You never know.
He's got bronchitis.
You never know. Somebody might catch a cold, get bit by a mosquito. You never know.
Yeah, Michael Nunn, Manny Pacquiao, and Vinny Paz are getting the Hall of Fame. What are your thoughts on each one and their contribution to boxing?
Their contribution to boxing is just, I believe, is just as important and potent as Bernard Hopkins because of their time and their success. And let me tell you something, the Hall of Fame gets boosted even more to what it already is when they get in. And I salute them, I respect them, and they fought everybody in their time. That's the key.
Okay, so
They fought everybody in their time.
Last one. If you got in a street fight, which one are you calling to come help you? Pacquiao, Vinny Paz, or Michael Nunn? Rehab don't need help. Rehab's a Hall of Famer.
What about a gun?
Okay, that's the end. You mentioned fights for Tank. One fight we all want to see is the Ryan Garcia Tank rematch. Tell me about that. How big would it be when it happens in 2025?
It'd be real big, and I would be glad to see that fight. That fight should happen, and that's one of the fights that keeps boxing in the headlines.
What about the exhibition with Ryan, though? Is Golden Boy going to be on? I know that there's been a little bit of Oscar with the clapback the other day, saying that Golden Boy wasn't involved. Has there been any movement now with Golden Boy coming on board with the exhibition in Tokyo with Ryan, or are you guys still on the outs with that?
No comment.
Thank you, Bam. Always a pleasure to see you. Exciting fight in Ontario. It's going to be a sellout. 11 fights. Tell me about the press conference we just had.
Yeah, it's 11 fights to close out the year of 2024. Again, I mean, you know, I don't know what other people might say, but I think this was one of the telltale years in fights, right? All around the board. Speaks that 2025 is going to be just as better because the fights that's being talked about and the fights that we want to see is coming to maturity. And I feel great about boxing going to the really next level. The momentum is in gear, and it's not one particular or two particular people, is collectively everybody that's involved in making boxing great again. And that's what I see now going into 2025. What a great momentum going into the new year.
Obviously, you were in Saudi for Zurdo's fight. He looked phenomenal. And now Vergil Ortiz in February, him and Madrimov. Tell me about that fight.
Tough fight, but a winnable fight. And I believe that they have an early candidate of being fight of the year in the beginning of the year. I mean, come on. I mean, everybody else that come after that fight is going to have to live up to what I believe, right? I could be wrong, but by history, in boxing in that weight class, I'm looking for a really exciting fight that's going to set the tone for 2025.
Now, there's a lot of records in boxing that will never be broken. You hold one of them, champion at 50, if I'm not mistaken?
Yes. It'll never be broken.
Never be broken, just like Sugar Ray Leonard, Sugar Ray Robinson, 91.
Correct.
And
Correct.
We have the Wilfredo, 17-year-old champion.
To hold that record is the oldest boxing champion in boxing history. Might not seem like a big deal, but when you get past 45, you realize that things ain't working like it used to. So, and that could be anything, but to keep it clean, we're talking about boxing. But let me tell you something. I even look back now and say to myself, yeah, I've done it. I did interviews about it. But you know what? As I'll be 60 January 15th. I'm close to a little over a month before I hit the big 6-0. And I say that because every birthday or born year, you get to thinking about stuff you did yesterday. It means years ago. And that's a record I believe is going to hold fast for a while. I believe for a while. I'm not saying never, but for a while.
Watching at the press conference, you're looking to spend the shape. Coach Hector asked him, how would Bernard Hopkins do with Jake Paul? He said, Ellie, don't even ask me because Hopkins is too good, too sharp, not even a close fight.
First of all, I wouldn't go in there playing and tapping and saying, hey, you hit me too hard. I would break the rules. See, certain people cannot play without making it or turning it into a real fight, right? Like I said, I'm a bad script follower when it comes to playing boxing, when it comes to, I can remember way back in school days where you play slap boxing and next thing you know, become a fisticuff. Like anybody that's been in elementary school or early high school or whatever, you get in there playing with your guys, so let's slap box. You slap box, and next thing you know, somebody slapped somebody or somebody hit somebody, where they feel that, that was too hard. And next thing you know, it was a full-blown assault. Like I said again, I'm not a script player real well. So whether it's Jay Paul, whether it's anybody else that's into entertainment or boxing, it'll be a problem. They'll get a real fight out of me. Because as soon as I get hit, I'm gonna lose the script.
That's why you came out to the song, I Did It My Way, Frank Sinatra.
Excuse me?
That's why you came out to the song, I Did It My Way, Frank Sinatra.
Yeah, he just mentioned, that's why I came out on the song, one of the greatest songs of all time, it's called My Way by Frank Sinatra. You notice, you don't see a whole bunch of people in any business or any statement that they've done it their way. See, to mention I done it my way with credibility, especially integrity, you must have a history of receipts to not make a mockery of yourself when you say you done it your way. See, when you done it your way, you gotta have a trail of evidence where even your worst enemy can't say nothing but hide and put their head down, he or she. But when you done it your way, and you're still here to talk about it, clear, understanding, vocabulary on point, then they know they got a bigger problem going forward.
By the way, you and Marquez have something in common. He's a Hall of Famer, you're a Hall of Famer. You know what you guys have in common?
I look better? No, that's in common. That we look
you guys
better together.
You guys both lost your first pro fight and became legends, which is very rare because most people, in this day and age, you lose a fight, people write you off like, hey, what are you doing? It's wrong?
But yeah, the 4-rounder, Clinton Mitchell, see, I'll never forget the name, Resort Casino in Atlantic City in 1988. That was the best thing that happened to me. Yeah, I know it sounds cliche to say it now, 30 plus years later, but think about what happened after that. 89 and 90, I was inactive. That's when my documentary, my movie would start. Well, it won't even be a documentary, a docu-series. Because that's when the story begins. My story began before that, but this is where the story of the second chapter. That's why I say I lived 9 lives, like a cat. 89 and 90, I've been active so long and done so much in that time. Nobody really looked at until I made this comment or made this statement. 89 and 90, you wasn't active. What did you do almost 2 years? What was happening in 2 years where it looked like you was out of boxing? I ain't gonna give it all up, but I'll tell you one thing. Y'all gonna be excited I ain't jump out on the era of COVID when everybody was doing documentaries and everybody was doing this. No, mine's bigger than that. To some of the greats have lost, as you mentioned. I experienced that. Ain't nothing else I ain't experienced right now. I know how that feel. It didn't feel good. And now I'm gonna show y'all now we're true champions. True champions. No disrespect to the guys that got the O on their record, but the true champions overcome adversity, losses, knockouts, letdowns, adversity of all kinds. This was Scrappy get a chance now to say to the world, I've done it all, I've been it all, as he repeated up there, and now I'm going for a championship, and this time I'm gonna win it. I lost my first championship with Roy Jones in '93. Come on, man.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate you always.
Don't give me no slow ball. We in the major leagues, man. I got all bases loaded too.
Always.
Come on.
Tomorrow. I can't wait for Saturday.
I lost my first world championship with Roy Jones in '93, so I know how scrappy you feel.
Yeah.
And I went to bed every day saying I got to get Roy back. And how many years it took me to chase him down? Me and Roy talk about that today when we went to Hall of Fame.
17 or something like that?
16 years I chased Roy down to get that fight. And guess what? Whoever thought that I got that fight, and guess what card he was on? Golden Boy.
Right.
Thank you.
Whoever thought that happened? So I'm lucky. That's Allah. Allahu Akbar.
B-Hop, I didn't get a chance to ask you, and if I could walk and talk with you, I don't want to waste any more of your time. I know you've been busy and gracious enough with your time with us. Floyd Schofield Jr. getting a shot at Shakur Stevenson out in Riyadh season. Talk to us about your expectations for Floyd in his first big time event.
You got to be ready. He will be ready. And the proof is in the pudding. We'll see how the atmosphere and everything that he's going to be adjusted to. And he's preparing pretty championship level. He got the right people in his corner. He brought a few people that he know that's going to give him things that he need. And look, he dared to be great, and he's shown the world that he mean it. And that's what I like about it.
As an expert technician as you are, Bernard, how do you approach a guy like Shakur Stevenson if you're a Schofield? With his skill set.
Mentally, you got to go in there knowing you can win and then back it up physically. Everything is here first. I know it's pretty deep. Some won't get it. But it's here first. The plan is not to be told, it's to be sold. And come that night, that moment, Schofield had to be mentally tough, and the skills going to follow that. It's not the other way around. It's not the skills and you're mentally out of it. You must be hand in hand, 50-50, not 60-40, not 80-20. You got to be right, and that's the key of the sweet science, to be able to think just as quick as react. There's mental and there's physical. This is going to be a physical, but also majority is going to be a mental warfare. It's going to be who can handle it mentally when things is not going great that round. When things not going great the next round. You got 12 rounds to make it right. That's when we got to fight.
And lastly for me, Bernard,
that's when we got to fight.
Dr. Steelhammer, all of a sudden, kind of out of nowhere, Vladimir Klitschko, Frank Warren talking about, and realistically talking about, trying to egg Vladimir Klitschko out of retirement to fight Daniel Dubois or Tyson Fury. What do you think about that?
I'd rather see that fight than Mike Tyson and Jay Paul.
Are you that disgusted with it? Did you think that Mike Tyson followed the script?
Now you want to ask another question. I gave you. You should have laughed first. If you laughed,
You didn't even give that.
No, really. Did Mike follow a script though? Did Mike follow a script?
No. Mike ain't following no script. Mike got fighting in him. Mike a warrior. I love Mike. And then Mike realized, like, all right, man, let me go ahead. But Mike, listen. That didn't hurt Mike's legacy. We love Mike. Mike knew that it was hard to go and not be himself, and he held back, and that's the key. He might not have admitted it, not have said it, but we seen what it looked like, and we seen what it was. But it didn't do nothing for Mike, like far as popularity, or make him look any way of less than who we know he is, because we know he's not. He's a legend. He's great. I think the burden was on Jay Paul. I want to see Jay Paul fight someone. Now, I'd rather see Jay Paul fight Tyson Fury, fight Usyk, fight a heavyweight that we understand. Like, what would you say the fourth or the third or the fifth? Third, fourth, or the fifth heavyweight behind the top three?
I'd say somebody like Andy Ruiz.
Won't he fight him? Who else? Give me one more name.
Say Andy Ruiz or...
Give me a young one. What's his big guy name?
Big Baby coming off of a loss.
Get Big Baby. I better say, put Big Baby in there. I'm not saying look
New York big baby.
but
I
I'm-
want to see New York big baby
But
get a
that's,
shot at Jake
but that's
Paul.
what I'm talking about. I'm not saying that Jake Paul might or might not win. I just want to see what happens. That I think the fans look. Jake Paul has a great, and started a great following off of entertainment. I'm not knocking the hustle on that. A great entertainer. I mean, but 100% boxing and fighting the top guys in your age bracket, a little older, a little younger, I think that's where the credibility coming at. But far as what he's been doing and what he accomplished and established, I'm not mad at him. He don't, you know, because he's our friend. Nobody put a gun in anybody's head and say, coming in and fight Jake Paul. So you gotta look at that too, to be quote unquote fair and non-biased on either side. You gotta look at the opportunity that those who run to the table and say, I'm gonna be a part of that. So I can't knock them on that, but when it comes to like, yo, we want respect through the whole thing, I give him respect for doing it. I don't think he's a rookie like he started off. I think he's better than he was 2 years ago. I think that he can beat some of the guys that's on a low part of the ratings. You know, I'll say from 15 and work it all the way up to about 8, 7, or 9. But I want to see that. I want to see that. If I see it, I could be able to say, yo, you know what? I'm on board 100%.
Give him a little more credit.
That's all.
As a legend,
It's all credibility. See, credibility you can't buy.
speaking
Think
of not
about
buying
buying-
credibility,
think about buying credibility.
you watch a legend like Michael Nunn going into the Hall of Fame after getting out of prison, going through everything that he's went through, staying 10 toes down inside Bernard Hopkins. If you could tell us, what does it feel like for you to watch Michael Nunn go into the International Boxing Hall of Fame?
From what he done in the ring and in boxing and for our sport that we both love, Michael Nunn and myself, second, right, to none.
Absolutely.
But he deserved to be first in the Hall of Fame, and he will be. So he will be in the Hall of Fame, his time, his year, and his moment.
Just made it this year.
Congratulations, Michael, second to none.
Appreciate you, Bernard.
Respect, man.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you so much for watching this video, and make sure to subscribe for more videos of your favorite fighters over here on Fight Up TV, and give us a follow online as well at Fight Up TV on Twitter and on Instagram. We appreciate it, guys.